Hey guys, what is up? It's James Hernandez and welcome to a brand new video. And today I'm going to be reviewing a video game, and this time is going to be another review for another racing game which I'm going to be talking about since the last game that I reviewed on my channel was Crash Nitro Kart. But this time we're going to go to another racetrack for this review, because today I'm going to be reviewing Team Sonic Racing. Now, Team Sonic Racing is a racing game from Sega and Sonic Team that was released in 2019, and this is the game that actually features the characters from the Sonic universe. So let's talk about the story of this game. Well, basically, like, what's not really going on. So there is a story in this game where it actually follows on this guy called Don Don Pa, which is a weird name. He actually gathers Sonic and his friends to go racing around the racetracks, and then once they win, he would receive them a prize. And while that's going on, they're also, like, the Sonic characters are basically wondering, like, if he's actually working for Dr. Eggman. And so they had to, like, go all the racetracks and they had to win the race. So this new character actually wins them, like, a prize. And that's basically it about the story. Nothing too big, nothing too amazing or specific about it. So I first got this game when I actually got it from Amazon.com when my mom ordered it for me, because I really do like these type of kart racing games. And there's like a bunch of kart racing games that is like pretty much like has been inspired like since like Mario Kart was like one of the most like biggest kart racing games of all time. And then there was like a lot of like Mario Kart clones, as I would say. Like there was this game, then there was also Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed. There was Madagascar Karts, and there was Toy Story Racer for the PlayStation 1. And there's like a bunch of like a lot of racing games that actually does have like this pretty much like a similar style concept of Mario Kart. And this game was one of them. So what do I think of this game? Let's find out. So let's talk about the graphics in this game. Now, the graphic designers is actually very nice, because it was made by the same graphic design company that did did Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and All-Star Racing Transform, with all these different track designs that you might recognize in one of the Sonic video games in the past. Or even like some of the tracks can be quite a bit confusing because we may not be too similar or familiar with one of those tracks. Maybe there's some like from Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, like the Way Lagoon and all that stuff. And some of the track designs are pretty questionable, as I will say. So as for the graphics, I thought the graphics is really beautiful. Because like the worlds like where Sonic and his friends are all racing, and every racetrack looks very nicely like colorful, and is actually really beautiful to look at. So whenever I see like the racetracks, like the Whale Lagoon, when you see the killer whale just like jumping out of the water, was really cool. And I also like many of the other racetracks, and even though sometimes the racetracks can be like pretty small and be pretty tight, because they usually would just like get too close to each other and actually causes like one of the players get like bumped into each other, which can be pretty frustrating with the controls. So for the controls in this game is actually quite of a mixed bag, because when you actually control your character, whatever like you're racing as like one of the characters like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, or Shadow, or even Silver, it can be pretty mixed, because when you actually drive your character in every like race modes, or even like in a story mode or local gameplay and all that stuff, the controls can actually work when you actually like control your character, and it actually does work. But there are times where it can be pretty frustrating, because there are times like where the character can actually like just like bump into a wall, even like when you're like going left or right, and then like the game just suddenly just doesn't let you go left or right without even like I don't know, like you have to like accelerate, and then and usually you will just get like bumped into a wall, and then usually the characters will bump into each other, and they will just like say all these different dialogues nonstop. So the controls can be quite mixed. Like, I wouldn't say it's broken, but it's kind of like kind of a bit annoying when the characters like bump into each other and even when you have like the speed boosting, which the speed boost is actually really cool. And what's also really cool about this game is that unlike the previous racing games from Sega, like Sega All-Stars Racing and All-Star Racing Transform, since this game is called Team Sonic Racing, it does have like team races. Like it has like Team Sonic, which has like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. And then you have Team Rose, which you have Amy Rose, the Chows, and even Big the Cat, which I'm surprised Cream the Rabbit is not in this game. I don't know why she's in it, but anyway, and the other team we also got is Team Dark, which is Shadow, Rouge, and Omega. And then you have Team Vector, which Vector the Crocodile is not with Espio and Charmy. Instead, he is with Silver and Blaze. And then we got to see Team Eggman. He has Zavik from Sonic Lost World, and of course Sonic's doppelganger, Metal Sonic. So those are like one of the characters that you get to play as in this game. And playing as one of those characters is actually really fun. Now, the thing I kind of don't like about the characters in this game is that usually like the voice acting just doesn't quite fit well for the characters. I know it was the time like where the Sonic voice actors, with the exception of the guy who voiced Dr. Eggman, were like replaced by different actors. But I really don't think all the voices really work. Like especially Shadow's voice does not fit, and I usually don't think Shadow's voice doesn't really sound too good. Like that was the example where I was like, I think they should have brought back Jason Griffin, because I think Jason Griffin did an absolutely wonderful job voicing Shadow, and he also voiced Sonic. But Sonic in this game, I think he was voiced by Roger Creek Smith. So this was the time where like throughout like in the beginning of the 2010s, Sega decided to like switch like the voice actors to like voice the characters, with the exception of Eggman, because Eggman's voice actually gets like the most praise out of all the Sonic characters, which that is ridiculous. But yeah, the voices in this game doesn't really fit very well, and usually like it just sounds quite uncomfortable to listen to. And also gets like kind of annoying, like whatever like you hit you basically just like got your weapon in the racetrack, and then you hit one of your opponents and they will just kind of like talk smack to each other, which I was like, come on guys, don't be an a-hole about it. And it was kind of annoying, which I was kind of like getting quite annoyed with. Those characters are just like kind of acting like sore losers, if I'm being really honest. But when it comes to the game, it's actually really fun. Like I said, I thought the racetracks is actually very beautiful. The graphics are really nice. The controls can be like hit or miss, but it doesn't really make the game like unplayable, because it's still very playable. It's still really fun to play, just like some of the other like kart racing games like throughout the years, even like Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, which is really fun. Now, one of the criticisms I had with the game is that, like I said, like I think the voice acting, for the most part, I think the voice acting just kind of just sounds flat. And sometimes the controls can be pretty frustrating, where it comes off as become like very average and mediocre. And the story mode, I had to say, there's not really much going on with the story. And usually the dialogue, while it's not terrible, but I felt like the dialogue is kind of like something that you would like seeing from like from a kid's show that is like literally like made from 5-year-olds. Which, not to say it was juvenile, but it's just I felt like the writing is like not the best, and usually the story I just kind of felt like it was pretty weak. So I felt like this game doesn't really need a story mode, because there's not really much going on, because it's usually like what you have seen in the modern Sonic storylines that we actually had got nowadays. Not like in the old days, like in the 2000s, or even like in the early 90s or the late 90s and something like that. But this is like during the modern times, where I felt like Sega was kind of like running out of ideas for the story for the Sonic games. But not to say the story here was terrible, because it's not. But I just don't think the story is very strong, and I don't think the story is like not great. But yeah, I just think the controls, I think, is kind of like I said, the controls are a mixed bag. Some of them are pretty good, and some of them can be pretty frustrating. And the camera is also not bad either. I think it really does have like good camera angles because when I was like playing this game, the camera doesn't really like fight with me all the time. Sometimes like video games can be quite ridiculous with its camera angles because they just want to fight with you and give it the worst possible angles for no or some reason. But this game doesn't actually have bad camera angles, which I was really glad, because every time when I was like playing as each of the characters, like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Silver, or Blaze, or even Dr. Eggman, it's still fun, and the camera actually like lets me like stay focused like on the racetrack when I'm like racing against like the other Sonic characters in each of the levels of the game. So yeah, I actually thought it was pretty cool that the camera doesn't actually give me a hard time. It really doesn't want to like give me the worst possible angles. It was perfectly still, if that makes any sense. So overall, I think Team Sonic Racing, and while it might not be the greatest racing game in the Sonic franchise, but it's still fun to play. Sometimes like the controls can be pretty frustrating, and well, not broken, but it can be like mediocre and pretty average at best. And I do think that the story is actually the weakest part of the game. So there's nothing much I can really say about the story in this game, because there's really like nothing much going on. And we've been hearing this story like about a bajillion times, which especially like in the modern Sonic projects that we got nowadays. But it's still fun. It's still a fun game to play. Like I thought the graphics is beautiful. I thought the gameplay is actually really fun. Seeing the Sonic characters racing is pretty cool. This is basically like made by the designers that did Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and All-Star Racing Transformed. And I kind of wish the voice acting was a little bit better, because not all the voices for the Sonic characters really fits very well. I know things have changed with the voice actors except for Dr. Eggman, because the guy who voiced Eggman is iconic. But I just don't think all the voices work, and it just makes me wish that I think Jason Griffin would have returned to voice Sonic and Shadow. No disrespect to Roger Creek Smith, he's good, but I'm mostly used to Jason Griffin's voice performance as Sonic, especially as Shadow. And even the actor, I forgot his name, who voiced Silver, but he did voice Silver in the 2006 Sonic game, which that was the Sonic game that no one else likes, and everyone just like says it was the worst Sonic game of all time. But that's another discussion for another video. But yeah, I think they could have like brought Silver's original voice actor to come back. And yeah, but yeah, like I thought Team Sonic Racing is still a fun game. Like I said, no problems with the camera. The camera is pretty good. The controls can be mixed, and the story I do think is pretty weak. And but the gameplay is still fun, and the graphics is really nice. I think the graphic designers did a good job, and the racetracks I think is very creative. It is very beautiful, and it's just overall fun to play. Like, now you can also like play this game online, but I'm not an online gamer myself. I like to play like singly at home. But yeah, there's some like people that did play this game online, but I heard it was only like, I don't know, like 2 people, I think. But yeah, like, but overall, Team Sonic Racing, I still think it may not be the greatest racing game of all time. Like, I think like Crash Team Racing or even some of the other racing games are probably a much more better than this. But it's still fun to play, and I do recommend this game to Sonic fans. Don't expect the story to be like, don't expect anything from the story, because like I said, there's not really much going on with the story. And like I said, the story in this game is extremely weak. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Team Sonic Racing probably like an average like 7 out of 10. The only reason why this game only lost 3 points is because, like I said, the story has nothing new going on, and like the controls can be pretty frustrating, like when you're like playing as any characters in the Sonic universe. And usually the voice acting is like not the greatest, with the exception of Dr. Eggman. So I think those are like one of the reasons why this game only lost like 3 points. But not to say it was a bad game. It was still fun to play. The gameplay is fun, and the graphics are really good. But like I kept saying, and I'm going to say this the last time, the controls can be pretty frustrating at times, and I do think the story is the weakest part of the game. But what did you guys think of Team Sonic Racing? Like, have you guys ever played this game? If so, what did you guys think of it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? What's some other like racing games that you guys have played? Like, have you played like any of the Mario Kart games, or have you played like other racing games that are pretty similar to Mario Kart? Comment below and let me know. And also, in case if you guys are brand new here, feel free to subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and turn on the notifications when I make brand new videos. And stay tuned for the next video, which I'm going to be working on the next episode of Characters Face Off, where Ryu from Street Fighter is going to fight Akira from Virtua Fighter. So we're going to see two martial art fighters from two fighting game franchises going head to head in the next episode of Characters Face Off. So stay tuned for that. And also stay tuned for more other videos I'm going to be working on pretty soon. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got to say for now. So hope you guys enjoy my review for Team Sonic Racing. This is James Hernandez. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.